Coach. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, I know there's a lot of excitement about this defensive front with the guys you brought back, and then also the guys you're bringing in, and the guys you've developed. Coach Norvell said that they were pretty assertive today. Is that group? Are you starting to see what you want out of that group this spring, and particularly today?
Yeah. I mean, the way we design practice, I think just to be able to set the foundation of fundamentals and just the physicality necessary to play defense the way we want to play defense. And I thought Thursday was one of our, it felt like we were where we needed to be from a physicality standpoint. It wasn't always perfect, but just the pad level, just the aggressiveness and the knockback and the fits, it's getting there, and it's an everyday mindset, But in order to be the defense that we need to be, you want to see that stuff show out throughout practices and then carry over to these opportunities. And it's come in a lot of different ways. It's come with some additions. It's come with some improvement of guys. It's come with just maturity. And, so we are taking the right steps right now.
Next will be Chris Nee from Knowles 247.
Hey, Adam. Mike Norvell spoke about Patrick Payton improving a great deal during the spring, specifically talking about him as a run stopper. Just wondering what you've seen of him through 6.
Yeah, I think he's our most improved player, on the team. And it comes back to the question Ira asked me. And, Patrick's going to be a good athlete. He's going to be a really smart football player. That's what he is. That's what he was last year. But he had to develop physically too, with strength, just size, and so that happened. But now you're seeing the physicality, and I think that's critical because there are no great finesse defensive linemen out there. I mean, that's not real. And so it's got to start with that, stance and pad level and get-offs and willingness to do what you need to do to set edges and take space. And so, JP and Odell have done a really good job with him in that group. And, I'm seeing that from Pat right now. Me and him were up in the office just this week, kind of sitting down about where I think his growth is headed, what we think he needs to do. And he's very receptive to it all, and which is part of the reason you get better. You listen to the improvement plan that's necessary, and he is definitely improving right now.
Next will be Logan Robinson from No Game Day.
Hey, Coach. Greedy Vance has had a nice start to spring camp, it looks like. How did he look today, along with the rest of the defensive back unit, even maybe some of the younger guys?
Yeah, so a lot there with that one. Greedy is, this year we went into it and listen, Fentrell and Quindarius are new, but all the other returning corners and nickels that are out there in the spring, Greedy, J-Dub, Renardo, Azarie, we're rolling them at nickel and corner. I think it helps build, just depth throughout the season, but also I think it improves their skills as a player, put them in those situations. So, we're playing Greedy at both spots right now, but just his competitiveness, confidence, he's always been extremely quick and really ball skilled and really confident around the ball. But you're seeing a lot of, I think we felt it last year at the end of the year. We missed the bowl game, when he got injured there. But, coming on at the end of the game, at the end of the season last year, he was playing really at a high level. And I think we've seen that continue. He's put on some good size, and I think it's just year 2 in the system, year 2 with his teammates. And we're seeing the real confidence from Greedy show up right now, and he's playing extremely fast. And I am proud of the steps he's taking.
Next will be Brendan Simone from Knowles 247.
Adam, when we were talking to Mike earlier, he mentioned Duke Cooper as someone who's done well making that position change. I guess through 6 practices, what have you seen from Duke, and are you liking the way he's settling in there at safety?
Yeah, it's easy for just to grab the narrative of Duke now plays safety, and I get it because it is a change, but, it's not, he's still at DB, and, he's taking some reps at nickel, and he's actually taking some reps at corner some this spring too, on some of the reps that we're taking. So I think Duke's a really good player. I think he's a great teammate, and I think, he had a really good freshman year. He was banged up and fought his butt off last year, lost some more than he won, but, he's still the same person that we recruited, and he's better than he was, and I think the arrow's pointing up on him. He's extremely coachable, and I think he's got a chance. He had a one-on-one that, he could have been in a better position today, But he has taken strides through this spring, through tour duties, through practice, and Duke's going to help us win games this year.
Next will be Kurt Weiler from Osceola.
Hey, Adam. The newcomers in the secondary, KJ, Quindarius, and Fentrell, I think there was a day, it was a Tuesday, they all had interceptions in a single practice. What have you seen from them, and what do you see from them in kind of that first scrimmage action today?
That's good. How did you know they all had picks?
The mission takeaway confirmed it.
Yes! Hey, little promotion there. Good job. That was a layup and a dunk. Well done. They've all done a good job, and we had a good, Fentrell, listen, we had tape on him, right, of playing against college players, and just through the recruitment, I had a really good sense that Fentrell was going to, he made a lot of good plays in the ACC last year, so the skill was going to be there. But there's a big part of it of just your fit in the program, and from a character standpoint, from how you act, how you are as a teammate, and just, when I jumped in that recruitment with him, and just, it was 3 weeks of every day, you get a sense of the person. So, I expect Fentrell to be in here and act seamlessly, even though I know it's a big transition. You move in schools, and I don't take that lightly, but I just know that, he's going to be there for us, and we're going to be able to rely on him to play good football for us. KJ and Quindarius, listen, we look at what's happened over the last couple of years. Kevin Knowles came in, started as a true freshman. Duke Cooper came in, started as a true freshman. Shaheem did not play at all for the most part as a freshman. Well, as a redshirt freshman, he's one of our best defenders. And so, just because they come in, if they're going to get the opportunity to play early, but some of them grow differently. And within saying that, KJ Kirkland, he's got a chance to help us this season. There's going to be a lot of development needs to happen, a lot of experience that he needs to gain from now until August. But he's a really good mover, great kid, smart, is confident, and has the ball skill and the movements and the tackling ability to be able to play safety for us. Quindarius, he's made really good jumps from practice 1, 2, 3 to 4 and 5. Today there was some good, some bad, but that's going to happen. We're going to put him out there, and he's a 200-pound corner. It's a true freshman that's with good players, so they're going to help his growth. And I'm really excited about all three of those guys. They're all at different stages, but all three arrows are up.
All right, next will be Matt Marshall from the Orlando Sentinel.
Hey Adam, how you doing today?
Good. Yourself?
Good. I wanted to ask your thoughts on the linebacker position. You've got a lot of experience up front with Tatum and those guys, but what have you seen from maybe some of the younger guys that have been stand out a little bit?
Yeah, we're really, myself and Coach Shannon really pushing the Omar Graham because, we invested a lot in him last year. He didn't take one scout team rep. He took every rep with us. And that didn't show up on Saturdays, but it showed up Sunday through Friday. And, we invested in it because we thought there's going to be a really good player in Omar this year. And we had our eyes on that. And, through the first 5, I thought he's looked like a year older, which is a positive. And, he's got a lot of good factors to him. And, he's somebody that I think has a chance to be able to crack that rotation. We've got some consistency at the top of the group, but that younger group, we've got to continue to push, and get better. And Omar's going to be put in a lot of those situations right now.
All right, we'll go back to Ira.
The defensive tackle group, obviously Fabo's had a lot of success, and Gerald Jackson's done a lot of good things, and that group, Dennis Bray, you each have a lot of guys that have done a lot. How are you seeing them getting better this spring? What ways can they still improve?
Yeah, well, as we say, the defensive tackles, there are things, as we get healthy and get this group together, we'll have things with 4 defensive tackles on the field. That's going to happen. Just like we have things with 3 to 4 defensive ends on the field. Now that we have the right numbers, those things can happen, right? And so, there are some fundamental techniques. JP and Odell will work with the D linemen, and, there'll be partnership drills that are basically carryover for both spots. And that's where you can really develop the groups in the depth, like we do at DB. There are corner drills or safety drills, but there are a lot of DB drills, just like up front at defensive line. But that's such a consistent, in the back end, if your stance in your first step and you're at 12 yards is a little bit off, you can make that time up. Up front, if you slip with your hand or your foot is maybe outside the framework of your body and you're playing against a really good player, we're never going to give up on a play, but you're going to be in a bad situation. So that's why older players, usually at corner, DB, you're going to play your freshman and redshirt freshman year for the most part if you get a chance to be a really good player. There are some D linemen, that they may not play till their third year and become NFL players. And it's because of the consistency of the small techniques and the errors that you could make at the line of scrimmage. If you play against good offensive lines, you'll never get it right. You can have success with poor technique and survive against below-average players. But what we're trying to get to as a front, that's why I love Odell and JP, because they're so detailed. We could sit in there and watch a pod rep, and it could be 5 minutes of coaching about a stance and the initial step. That's just part of it, and that's the specifics that those guys need. And I really like seeing a guy from the outside like a Darrell Jackson, who hasn't been in our program but has played really good football, but he's not nearly near on tape where he could have been and where he should be. And we're seeing those jumps. He was really good in tour duties, and we're seeing a lot of that. That polish on him starting to take effect, and really excited about what can happen with that whole entire defensive line.
All right, next will be Aslan Havavandi from War Chant.
I guess to stick with that, Coach Fuller, Dennis Briggs, obviously he's played so much football. I mean, is he a young man who simply is, who he's going to be, or is there more left to kind of tap into him? And then Gilbert Edmond, can you maybe just talk real quickly about kind of, how you project him to be and how he's producing so far for you?
So you think Dennis Briggs he's done getting better? Is that what you're saying, Aslan?
I'm not saying that, but maybe some conventional wisdom would say that when you've seen a kid play 1,200 snaps, you kind of have an idea of who he's going to be for you day in and day out.
Yeah, well, I'm going to use some unconventional wisdom then, and I think his upside is still tremendous. That's a guy that, he's played really good football at different spurts throughout his career, and everything is in everything. And coming off that injury and us moving him positions, he did what was best for the team, and I respect him for that. But I think there's a legitimate NFL player in Dennis Briggs, and I think he's an impactful piece of this team next year, and both on and off the field. And so I think Dennis has a lot left in that tank, and it's my job to make sure that we use him the right way. And sometimes that you got to do what you got to do, and you got to put guys in certain positions to help the group. But I think there's going to be a lot of emphasis on Dennis as a playmaker this year. And then Gilbert, I think he's taken some good strides early. He's still got a ways to go for him to play the football that I know that's in him. If you just put him through a combine workout, you're going to take him every time. And he's got good football reactions. He's very hard on himself, which I respect. But I think Gilbert is the one he's far away from his ceiling. And I still think he's going to help us win a lot of football games. But I think there's a lot of growth room for Gilbert. And the greatest thing is he wants it. And, he's not fighting it at all. And, we've seen flashes of an impactful edge player. And I think Gilbert's got a really bright future here at Florida State.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you.